Okay, you lot. So today we are reviewing the newest unit that just came out in the game, and that is Ivy. Right, so she is a wind attacker type unit, and just a quick overview of her skills. Whether you got her or not, I'm just wanted to explain it. My way of using her. Basic attack, standard 75% multiplier. Skill 1, attack a single enemy, 40% chance to reduce the duration of all buffs by 1 turn, right? Nothing too crazy, right? Second skill, this one is ranked up, so the multipliers are a bit higher. Attacks a single enemy, good damage, right? And 75% chance to steal 50% attack bar, right? Not remove, steal, which means that not only does she remove from the enemy, but she also gains it herself. Her ultimate, strike a single enemy 5 times for 2 to 5% multiplier. 2 to 5 is the total multiplier. This is not per hit, right? So the damage isn't as crazy as it may sound. And 70% chance to remove 1 buff from the enemy. Every time it removes a buff, she also deals additional damage equal to 120% fixed damage based on her attack. Now, the thing with this fixed damage is this damage cannot crit, right? Which means that if you do have her on a crit damage build, it will proc for the regular multiplier, but for the fixed multiplier, it will not affect it at all. And the passive, the damage cannot exceed 75% of your HP. If you do scale it up, it's gonna be at 51%, which unfortunately in both cases, it is still, she is dying in 2 hits if the damage is very high, right? For skill ups, I have everything at level 2, and speed is leveled up at level 3, right? And for the dupe skill ups, I only skilled up her second skill, and the reason for that is, in my opinion, right, this is the only skill that really matters. The rest of her skills are honestly pretty bad in my opinion, right? But yeah, I'm gonna talk a bit about how I use her, right? Just a breakdown of the stats. 208 speed, decent accuracy. Really, those are the only stats you want to have. The rest is just additional, a bit more damage, a bit more tankiness, all of that, right? Equipment, I have her on a speed set and an HP set. Again, I only farm speed sets, so I don't have any like damage sets, anything like that. If I show you my equipment gallery, you'll notice that it's literally all speed sets, HP sets, and defense sets. Like everything that drops from a single dungeon. The Memento, not using her signature the Memento, right? Her signature the Memento essentially just boosts damage, right? But because I'm not trying to do damage with her, I went for a Memento that gives more accuracy to her, right? So she can land the important debuffs for me. And yeah, so let's talk a bit about how I use her. I'll show you some examples in some endgame PvE content and my opinion about her, right? Okay, and the first thing I'm gonna be using her is Subjugation, right? I have already completed all 50 levels of this rotation's Subjugation, right? And let me actually skip to the team because I think I used a little bit different one. Okay, yeah, there we go. This is the team that I used for the water one at least, right? I will showcase you her performance in one of the Subjugation levels as well as one of the Abyss Corridor levels, right? Especially the hard mode, not the normal mode. And yeah, overall, the way I use her is as a stun lock for the boss. What I mean by that is I only use her second skill. Look at the attack bar of the boss, right? Essentially, before this unit released, there wasn't really a unit that can consistently reduce attack bar like that, right? The only really option was Libertas, but that reduce was on her ultimate, which means that you can use it once and then you have a very long cooldown until it is available again. In this case though, you are able to consistently reduce it with Ivy, and in this way, this makes your teams much safer because previously with these subjugation levels, what you need to do is essentially you had to bring a healer, you had to bring a very consistent provoke in the form of Theodore, which is a light 4-star, right? And you had to consistently take damage from the boss, out heal the boss damage that he does to your units, some bosses had AoE basic attacks, which meant that even your damage dealers, even if the boss was provoked, your damage dealers were still very susceptible to dying, and it was a very, very painful mode. Now with Ivy, right, she is able to completely counter 4 out of 5 of these bosses very, very easily. Naturally, she cannot counter the fire one because she will have a lot of trouble landing the attack bar reduction on fire bosses, right? But even for that boss, you can just make use of Sasha, which is a second unit that you see on my team right here, and just completely like two-shot the boss. You can see the damage that she's doing even without the defense break here, right? So yeah, overall the strategy very simple with her, right? I brought essentially Ivy, which is my main attack bar reducer. I have Sasha there for a little bit of damage. Sasha in this team is very flexible. You can change her for anything else, right? At first I tried Ravi, I believe. She is a tank. She's a fire tank, but she is a tank and she can apply defense break to the boss. So in that way, Ivy could be your main DPS unit while still reducing attack bars, right? And the third unit I have here is Stein or Shutain, whatever you want to call it. She is there for attack buffs mostly, right? So that your team is able to do more damage. And cycling mana, right? Stein is the best mana cycling machine, especially if you have the memento that you buy from the Battle Pass shop. I did cover that in one of the previous videos I did. Or maybe I haven't released it yet. Maybe it will be like in a few days. But yeah, there is one memento which allows you to essentially cycle more mana on your support units, and she's there purely to cycle mana, but she also has a second skill which can boost the attack bar of your Ivy, just in case Ivy misses the attack bar reduction, right? Because remember, the chance to land it is 75% after all, and she can miss sometimes, so that's the reason why Stein is there. And for Diana, again, another flexible pick. The reason she is there is, again, very similar to Stein, and that is in order to boost Ivy's attack bar with that second skill in case she misses the hit, right? And yeah, now we are in the Abyss Corridor. This is the deep region, basically the hard mode of the hard mode of the mode, yeah, that works. And yeah, you can see that the team I'm using here is very similar, right? The concept of how you're using her is very similar as well. Essentially, 3 units are there to do a lot of damage, and then Ivy is there to make sure that the boss does not take as many turns, especially for this one. There are a few different bosses in the Abyss Corridor, but for her and for this boss in particular, it is very important to stop it from moving, because every time it moves, it gains a little bit of permanent speed, right? And you don't want that speed to stack up, because then you simply won't be able to keep up with its turns, right? So yeah, Ivy is there to reduce the attack bars. In this case, I don't have Stein, so I do have a little bit more mana problems in this stage, but luckily the boss's HP is also much lower, so you will see Sasha's damage do, I was surprised myself, a lot of damage, right? But yeah, Ivy, you don't have to, for TOA bosses, right, they're not as deadly in terms of damage, so you don't have to reduce the attack bars every single time, right? You can let them move sometimes. Some of the bosses also have only like self-buffing attacks, so you can let them take like 1 or 2 moves sometimes. But yeah, overall, this one was a bit of a shorter one because Sasha was just able to one-shot it very consistently, right? But yeah, the general gist of Ivy is, again, in my opinion, right, she is a manual-only unit, right? You don't want to be using her on auto, because on auto she will, of course, prioritize using the third skill on the boss. There's nothing wrong with the third skill, right? It can be useful if the boss has buffs, but usually when you're using it against PvE content, the bosses will not have more than 1 or 2 buffs, right? And usually those buffs can easily be overcome by just using a provoke for a few turns, right? So that all of the damage is concentrated on one of the unit. Like, again, like, even if the boss has attack buff, critical rate buff, right? It will not die or rather it will not kill one of your tanks that provokes it, right? So yeah, in that case, honestly, I wouldn't worry much about using her third skill, about using her first skill. And yeah, because she only needs her second skill to be skilled up, she is very, very cheap to build. As you know, you do get on average around 1 premium skill up just by playing the game, so you can easily dedicate this to the second skill, right? A short brief about PvP usage with her, right? And I tested her out a bit. We can also just try to jump and see if anyone attacked me. Maybe we can see some defenses with Ivy. Let me quickly check. So if we check the log, yeah, I can see one person attacked me with it. Looking at the team, I mean, I don't know. I think my team is unruined. That's the first problem, right? I think my Sion is unruined. I think that should be ruined, but yeah. Look at this team, this is not a meta team, no Libertas, which means that honestly they're purely relying on Beatrice RNG surviving, right? If my Sion killed Beatrice there, it's pretty much just GG, right? But yeah, as you can see, a lot of people, I tried attacking with her myself, not a big fan, right? From the defense logs, as you can see, meta didn't change much, it's still Libertas, still AoE damage. Same, right? This is the team that I tried out. I won't say that this is like the perfect team. All I did was essentially just replace my DPS unit with Ivy, right? This is my regular team that I managed to get like top 80 with, right? And yeah, I don't know. I tried her in PvP. I tried her as like a nuker for the main PvP like threat. So essentially, if we look at a defense, right, let's say I would attack a defense with one like damage threat, so like this one, the third guy on the list, right? He has Diana, he has Pluto, Libertas, and Sesha, right? So in this case, I would enter into the fight in the conditions, of course, where I take the first turn. So I would take the first turn, reduce with Libertas, buff up with Diana. I would drop a third skill nuke on Sesha, right? Sometimes they also had buffs from Diana, so this would do even more additional damage. If the ultimate was skilled up, it would kill the DPS unit, right? Without ult skill ups, I did have trouble doing enough damage, which is not the case with Sion, for example, for me. So yeah, the damage isn't like super crazy. Even at that, right? Like, the damage is okay, it can strip, but if you don't kill, you lost, right? If you do kill, even then, it's only a single target ability. It does not have any follow-up effect like Sesha does. For example, if she kills a unit, she can silence the rest of the team. Ivy doesn't have any of those effects, right? So all she does is strip and damage, right? The attack bar reducing I haven't found to be useful in PvP at all, right? Because again, like very single target, usually single target stuff is a bit better in PvE compared to PvP, right? So yeah, overall, Ivy, maybe people will find some use, maybe she'll be good when real-time arena comes out, but in the current PvP that we have, where we fight against bots, there are pretty much every other damage dealer that exists is a much better option than Ivy, so I cannot recommend using her for PvP myself, right? But for PvE, she is easily an S tier unit. As you can see, she helped me clear out pretty much all of subjugation, right? All 10 out of 10s. I used her in every single subjugation with the same team except for the fire one, and I beat all of it first try pretty much, right? Because like honestly, like, that OP, yeah, that OP. She doesn't even have like any friendship bonus or anything like that, so she's still missing quite a few stats, right? So yeah, that's my brief review of Ivy. If you are interested in doing endgame PvE content, she is a must, right? You can complete content without her, but it's gonna be 10 times more difficult than if you do have her. Unfortunately, if you are focusing on PvP, I don't see much use for her, right? So yeah, very PvE focused unit. So if you are interested in PvE, make sure to summon her, right? It will make your content much easier. You can easily use her on manual to speed up even the important content like equipment farming, right? Because I mean, as long as the enemy is not fire type, you will be able to completely stun lock it with enough mana, right? And yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to stay tuned for more videos coming on the Memento, and yeah, peace.